Hey everyone, we're back. It's Sunday in time for a new episode of Record Collecting with the Quill. Last week I was busy doing other things. Sometimes life throw you a couple of curveballs, so you have to deal with them. So that's why I didn't make any episode last week, but I'm back now. Theme for today: alternate artwork. Is something that I think is really cool to collect albums with different artwork. Sometimes it varies from different countries, whatever artwork you want to go with, and it's certainly a sign of a collector when you have to collect different artworks as well. But before we start, the good old drill. Make sure you subscribe, hit that little notice bell, and share with your friends. Well, as I said, there's tons of albums that have different artworks for different countries. Sometimes artworks were deemed too violent or maybe too sexist or whatever for different markets, so they decide to go with other artworks, and that's really fun to collect. There's tons of cool stuff. I picked a few of the stuff I have, some famous stuff and some stuff a little bit more maybe difficult to find, or releases that aren't that known in general. Starting out with a live one, probably one of the more famous ones that there was a lot of debate about. This one, the Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. Was the original artwork that was deemed too violent, robot raping this poor little girl down here, and it was pretty quickly banned, and instead they went with this artwork, and I think this one is the one used in general, and they changed the artwork for the whole world. I think now with the reissues that this one is available again, but for a long time it was not in the catalog at all. But nonetheless, it's cool to have this as original pressing I bought way back when. So that's the first one, Appetite for Destruction. Another one, it's one of my favorite albums of all time. This artwork is really famous, the Black Sabbath Heaven and Hell artwork. Here you have the angels smoking and playing cards, and you have the band on the back side, and I believe this is a Norwegian pressing. Maybe not as famous as the Yugoslavian one. They didn't like the angels smoking, so they went with the backside instead, made a cover out of that, and in a nice brown fashion. And here you actually have, quite rare to find pictures of the band with Bill Ward playing on the album. He left the band rather shortly after the tour started. Really nice, as I said, alternate artwork for this one. Another album I mentioned before, one of my favorite live albums, is Slayed Alive. Looks like this, backside like that. In Italy they didn't like that one, so they went with this artwork instead. Quite different vibe, if you ask me, from something a little bit more stylish or sort of chaotic that goes with the album, to this painted teddy bear. But if you look inside this one, you have the teddy bear on the inside, so it's sort of, they just took the album and turned it around for whatever reasons, but it's quite a different take on it, and it makes for a totally different. Looking at this, you might think you're listening to a children's record or something. Cool nonetheless. Now for this one of the most famous live albums, and if you ask me, the best one ever, Deep Purple, Made in Japan. Such an iconic artwork. Looks like this on the backside. And what's interesting is that even though it's recorded in Japan, in Japan they decided to go for a totally different artwork, and they even changed the name of the album from Made in Japan to Live in Japan. It's exactly the same album musically, but the artwork is totally different. You have a live shot of the band from overhead, and backside is from the same. I don't know if it's probably from Japan. I'm not sure. I'm pretty positive the photos on the inside are totally different fold out. Is from the Rainbow Theatre in London, and I think it's said that Phil Collen from Def Leppard is present somewhere there, I think. It's really interesting, as I said, it's one of the most iconic live albums ever recorded in Japan, and they decided to go with a totally different artwork. But something you gotta have, of course. Now, when it comes to Kiss, you know me, I'm a big Kiss collector, and there's tons of different stuff, and I could probably make an episode of just different or alternate artworks for different countries. But this one, talking about an iconic artwork for the Rock and Roll Over album. Such a great painting and well famous. But in Argentina in 1980, when they were going to re-release the albums, they decided to go with something totally different. This one is nowhere near the first or the original version. And maybe it was because they didn't have the artwork available, or they wanted something completely different. But something different is absolutely what we got. This is often referred to as the blood splatter cover or artwork from Argentina. Really cool, and they re-released a bunch of albums in 1980 in Argentina. Some of them with more or less the same artwork. And some of them had titles in Spanish. But this one I think is the coolest one, along with a re-release of Hotter Than Hell. I don't have that one, but it's really cool. That artwork is made from the posters for the solo albums. Another band famous for some outrageous artwork over the years is Scorpions. This one, Love Drive, this is a rather famous cover. I can't see a band releasing an artwork like this today. I think it would be deemed too sexist these days for obvious reasons. And in Mexico, they thought the same already when it was released way back when. So they decided to go with this artwork, a lot more neutral, just the logo and a big scorpion. Looks like this. And this, I think I had this one for ages, and I don't have the original artwork on vinyl, so something you have to buy someday. Cool nonetheless. And now the one I got just yesterday that sort of got me the idea for this episode. This one of my favorite albums ever, the Who's Next. Also a really iconic artwork. The guys have just taken a piss against this concrete monument. And there you have a photo of the band. As I said, really iconic, and the artwork most of us knows. But in Spain, they didn't like that one. I think they thought it was a little bit too much. So they went with this one instead. Just a live picture of the band. The backside is more or less exactly the same, except for titles in Spanish. But you got this live cover of the band. Really, really cool. I got it from my dear friend Nicholas at Dackes Vinyl yesterday. Came from his own collection, and when I saw it, I had to have this one. Such a cool artwork. Yes, and yeah, we have time for bonus as well. I'm gonna get a little bit. We also have some alternate artworks in the Quill. The first album, you may know this one. That was the artwork that was released on the CD when it was released in '95. But when it was re-released in the US in 2000, they went with this one instead. They thought this one was a little bit too. They didn't like this Jesus figure, and they thought I guess they thought it would maybe sort of upset people in the US with a Christian view or whatever, so they deemed it a little bit too offensive, which wasn't our intention at all. So you got this drain instead. I think it's a photo from inside the booklet, which, I don't know, we just got it. It was sort of a surprise when we saw it, so it's a little bit interesting and a little bit a cool little story nonetheless in the same vein. And I gotta promote my own band. That's why we have this channel in the first place, isn't it? Well, that was some of the stuff I have. I have tons of more stuff. Maybe I'll do another episode later on. As I said, I love collecting all this. When I find alternate artworks, it's really cool. And as I said, it's a sign of a real collector when I have to have that album but with a different artwork. So do you have any cool records in your own collection with cool artworks? There's still some I'm looking for. There's a really cool French pressing of Jimi Hendrix Axis Bold as Love with a photo of the band. I'm looking for that one. It's such a cool artwork. And there's a bunch of alternate Black Sabbath artworks that I'm looking for as well. Some really cool stuff. Let me know in the comment section, and please post pictures if you're posting on Facebook. It's always nice to sort of, it's so difficult since there are so many great albums and artists, so you always find some new stuff you didn't know about. As I said, let me know in the comment section. And also make sure you subscribe to the QUILL social media. It's the QUILL Sweden on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as well. And I'll see you all again next week with a new episode. That's it for now. Cheers. Bye.